Welcome, all my home buyers out there, and boy, am I excited to present to you the Brownstone at Northline in Leander, Texas. This is by a builder called Novak Residential Construction, which was a first for me. And just look at how beautiful these are. Let me pause here for a second. Oop, went too fast. These are 4 stories townhomes with your own private elevator. Each individual unit comes with its own private elevator. And each of them have this on the 4th floor open balcony. Beautiful. And I love the stonework they used. Now there's four different floor plans on their website, but there's really only 2 because there's only really 2 because the other 2 are just a variation of that, but the layout's very similar. And one of them's called the Arlington, and that's what we're about to look at. So this is a model for this builder, and it's called the Arlington. The other floor plan that they have is called the Evanston. Now, this floor plan is 3 beds, 3.5 baths, and it's the end location. And I'll tell you what that means when we get back in the air with the drone. That way you can really see it. 3,893 square feet. 2,987 of it is going to be the condition part. Now, if you look at the floor plans, you'll see from the ground floor, and as you work your way up, there is a bedroom, and this is the home office. This is where the salespeople are. And so just think of this as a bedroom. There's a closet, and they have a bathroom down here as well. So this would be the ground level where the 2-car garage would be that you would enter, and you would have a bedroom here. This would be great for guests because it's on the 1st floor. They have their own bathroom, and the next level. Oh, there was a sales lady right there that I bumped into. So here's your 2-car garage that's attached to the townhome, so you can get a really good visual. Again, these are brand new. This is called the Brownstone at Northline. A little bit of backstory on the Northline. This is going to be the next new downtown district for Leander. It's going to have commercial, retail space. They're going to have these townhomes for sale. They're going to have apartments for rent and other additional townhomes for sale that are not these by any means. These are definitely in its own category, especially with the private elevator. And each kind of floor has, again, the next floor is going to be all the common areas where you're going to have the kitchen, the living room, and the 3rd floor is where you're going to have the primary and another 2 bedrooms, 2 baths. And then on the top floor is where you're going to have a lot more storage and a flexible space. And the model they kind of converted to a wet bar that we'll see here in a second. But now we're on the 2nd floor. Here's where we're going to have the common areas of the kitchen, the dining, and the living space. And it does have not a full bath, but a half bath, a powder room on this floor. And this, I didn't get a chance. I'll point out the elevator, but I didn't go in the elevator because one drawback is that it is slow. So I'm a lot faster on the stairs because I'm a young guy. But if time is not an issue, or you're not always in a hurry like me, so that door on your right, that's hugging the stairs, that is where the elevator is. Then you could utilize that elevator all day. And I can see that being very coming in handy if you're taking something from the ground floor all the way to the top, especially if you're entertaining, because this is an entertainer's dream townhome because it's 4 stories. You're going to have that beautiful balcony view of just all of Northline Leander. And again, you're getting at this at the ground floor. They just have been, the last couple months is when they've been closing a few of these, right? And there's going to be, right now they currently have, I believe, 12. Let me check my MLS here because I have it pulled up. They have currently, for this community, Brownstone at Northline, 12 on the market. And there's more to come. This is just what they're building now. Now, not all these are move-in ready, but they do have 12 available to purchase, right? And these range anywhere from, they just did a price drop because I didn't see this before. $595,000 is the lowest one I'm seeing. And it goes all the way up to $785,000. So think of that range, $595,000 to $785,000. That's your range here for these types of homes. For this Brownstone at Northline, and having a private elevator, 4 different levels, and it's just the finishes are beautiful, right? I think the layout is really smart on how they did it, especially with that private elevator, and just how they did the primary bedroom with the primary bath and the walk-in closet. The walk-in closet's huge. It actually turns that corner that we're going to see here in a bit. So it actually is, it's quite large. It's only one though. Usually it's nice to have his and hers, but this is a really big, just one walk-in closet for the primary bedroom. They are offering an incentive. I believe it was a 2-1 buy down or 3-2-1 buy down. But the big thing you just have to remember here is that most builders right now are offering some type of financial incentive in the form of flexible cash that you can use to either help with the financing. So if you're going to be buying this townhome with the traditional way through a conventional FHA loan, then you could use that to help buy down the interest rate. But if you're buying this place all cash, you could usually just take that right off the top. So it really depends on your situation and how you could use that. But there are incentives right now. And they are dropping the price a little bit because that $595 was new to me. I only saw stuff last week that were in the 600s, nothing in the 5s. So they are reducing a little bit in price. But here you could just see just how beautiful these are. And just like the curb appeal, right? It gave me that New York vibe of just having, especially the way that the stairwells meet up to the building. Very New York. And I've never been, but I've seen tons of movies. And just having that nice brownstone. Okay, this is what I really wanted to point out to you. Okay, so what we're looking at here. Oh, I went too fast. Come back. All right, let's try to rewind it here. Rewind. I really wanted you to take a look at that's the community map here. Let's pause this. Right, so you can kind of see where that one is. That number 1. That's where we're at with the model. Right? And you could just see across the street, those 2 rows, that's all they really have built right now. Right? So everything else, so 1 and 2, so think that's the name of the phases. Phase 1 and phase 2, or 1 and 2, the white circles now, that's what they currently have done. Right? They still have all of phase 3, all of phase 2, all of phase 1, that's on the outside corner on the right there, that still is left to be built. And we're going to see all that once at the end. I'm going to do one drone shot, kind of overpassing everything so you can kind of see. But visually, you could see here of just how many more townhomes they're going to build. But, and I believe, if I'm not mistaken, if I remember seeing the website, it was like around 200 or so. But here's what I like about this area. One, you're in Northline Leander. And a big appeal to, and I guess how smart they were, was that where they're developing this is within walking distance to the actual transit line for Leander, right? So the public transportation that takes you from downtown Austin all the way up to Leander, this is one of their stops, and they actually got the name, and it's derived from the Northline Leander transit stop for this master plan kind of multi-use property space, right? So we're on the top floor, right? And here's the wet bar that they kind of that's how they staged it. You could utilize it for whatever you want. There's a nice little half bath in there, and here is just a remainder. We're gonna go in there first. Yeah, we're gonna go in the half bath first, and then I'm gonna take you to the backside where you just see tons of storage that I could see people using as just a yoga space, kind of an extra space to work out, because it's just so much of it. You could definitely put a bike in there, a stationary bike, have equipment up there, and really just have that. I mean, it's a nice carpeted area, so you can have that space to use for whatever you want, and it's a ton of it. It's almost the whole, it encompasses the entire 4th floor, and then towards the end, that's when we're gonna see that beautiful balcony view. So, but again, here's the web part. There's that elevator, right? There's a button. So in each floor, you'll have that door with the elevator. And I asked about the costs, right? Because I'm familiar with elevators because of my last job, right? I know maintenance and energy are big ticket items when it comes to an elevator, and these are electric elevators. So the builder who made these actually did something similar, townhomes in Georgetown, and they've been going for 10 plus years. Because I asked about the maintenance, I'm like, who pays for that? It would have to be the homeowner, right? She's like, yeah, it's a homeowner's responsibility, but because they're electric, that's the big draw to, I guess, not having as much maintenance or upkeep for it. So as far as the cost, because I was trying to figure that out, it wasn't a huge burden from the way that they made it out to sound, because it's electric elevator, and because it goes so slow and you're not going to be using it a whole ton, the wear and tear, I think, is going to just be a lot slower. So here's just this is the money shot, right? Here's that view. That's where they're going to have that's where some of the apartments and other townhomes for rent are being built. They're going to have, I mean, it's huge. I actually did a video already where it's just nothing but the drone shots from the video that I'll link in the description so you can have a really good aerial view of just all of Northline. So here we go. Here's a really good shot. These are the Brownstone on the right, and to the left was the apartment townhomes for rent. These are for sale here on the right. And you can see just how, I mean, just look how nice these are, having four stories, private elevator. Each level has its own bathroom. Each level has its own bedroom. I mean, think of the possibilities for people who are visiting you, who are coming from out of town. This would be a great space, especially when it's all said and done. They're slated to be completed in 2031. So you're really getting this at the ground floor, because you could just see how much space they have left to be built out. You could see how much construction is going on, that there's still, I think we're still in the very preliminary, especially when it comes to these townhomes, right? They've only built a handful. We're going to see here in a second. Now, take a note. So some of the floor plans you have in their higher ticket price point, I believe these are the ones in the 700s, have that huge balcony space. You could see it right here. So these corner ends, that's why in their floor plans, they're going to either have end location or master plan to kind of identify like where it sits on the path of like the building, right? So here, I would say these are like the end locations, because you could just see how much extra balcony space you have on top of like this, where the cover area is. You have a lot more, and you can only get that in these end units. And there's only so many available to purchase, because a lot of these are selling pretty quickly, especially these end units that have that extra large space on the top floor. Those are going away even sooner, right? What you're going to have more of are a lot of these end locations, these central locations right here, that you're not going to have. You're still going to have that balcony. It's just not going to be as extended. Is that a huge deal breaker, or should that stop you? I'm like, by no means. It's just take note if you really love these and fall in love. So here's the Northline I was talking about, the transit stop, right? This is within walking distance to this Northline Leander, which is another huge draw to, I think, this area. And that's why developers who chose this land did well, because they have all these things nearby, right? You're going to have, again, commercial, retail space when it's all said and done. You have that community transit line. And you can kind of see towards the back here. So here's in front of us, here's the townhomes, and towards the back end, if you see that tree line and kind of where that road is, that's where the tracks are. That's how close it is to this community. That's how close it is. Isn't that crazy? And right there off in the distance on the top left corner, that's actually the Austin City Community College. So not too far off. And just down further south from here is where they're going to have Leander Springs, right? So Leander Northline, or Northline Leander, however you want to call it, and Leander Springs are going to be within minutes of each other. So that's going to be the huge draw to the Brownstone at Northline in Leander, Texas. You're really getting in at the ground level here. I'm seeing homes from 595,000 range all the way up to 785,000 range. So there's 12 units available. There's going to be more up and coming. And again, you can buy these before they even break ground. It really just depends on your timeline and your financing, but they are willing to work, especially with investors, because this could be, other than having it for your primary, I have seen some transactions that were for investors. So they are open to investors, but typically from what I've seen, they're capped. So they only have so many available homes for sale before they cap it off with it as far as how many investors are in it. And then it's just mostly for people who want to use it as a primary. So I don't know what that cap is. I forgot to ask, because this was towards the end of my day, but that's something we can easily ask. I can easily reach out and get the information from the salesperson. I didn't have a lovely conversation with her. So what's the next step for you? The quickest and easiest way to get in touch with me for us to have a really good, meaningful conversation is to just do a Zoom call. I have my Calendly link in the description. If it's on my calendar, I can see it. I can prepare for it with some of the questions preliminary questions. That way we can have a really good, meaningful conversation. I usually have all my numbers on my social media platforms that you can call me, but I've come to realize that people who call me, I'm usually in the middle of doing something. I'm either with the client or I'm doing content for my YouTube channel. So it just completely disrupts the flow of my day. And I really stick to my calendar and stick to my time blocking. That's how I'm able to do content like this with my YouTube channel and be a real estate agent at the same time, and have somewhat of a life and not be so chaotic, is because I live by my calendar. So please schedule a time to do a consultation with me virtually. That way we come up with the game plan and see if new construction is a good fit, and seeing if Brownstone, this builder, is a good fit, because just look how lovely it is. I mean, I think that's a pretty good bragging rights. I have a private elevator in my townhome. A very, very, very cool thing to say, especially in the new Northline Leander area. That's going to be the new downtown for Leander, which is just that. These are all indicators of momentum for Leander, momentum for Northline, and momentum for home values in the next 5-10 years, especially when this gets completed. So again, my name is Omar Pineda, your Austin Realtor with eXp Realty. I appreciate you for watching. I'll catch you next one.